G'day guys, how you going? Back with a new video. This time we're looking at the SU-100Y. This tank is an absolute behemoth at tier 6. It has a huge 130mm naval gun, which it uses to completely destroy pretty much any tank it comes across. Let's just get straight into the review of this tank, guys. Into the history of this tank, the SU-100Y is a tier 6 tank destroyer based on the T-100 heavy tank. It was developed in order to tackle many roles on the battlefield, including laying bridges, transporting explosives, and recovering tanks, all whilst operating as a self-propelled gun. The SU-100 is mounted with a 130mm naval gun, and its prototype is currently in the Kubinka Tank Museum collection in Russia. On to the top 3 quirks of this tank now, guys. This tank has premium ammunition, which actually has lower penetration but higher damage. This is pretty unique to this tank, but it's something that people are calling for to be implemented throughout World of Tanks, because premium ammunition is pretty frustrating at the best of times, right guys? Also, it has a large health pool for a tier 6 tank, especially a tier 6 tank destroyer. That is due to its pretty huge size, and also because of its huge size, it is fantastic at ramming. It is pretty mobile and it's very heavy and very big, so if you ram this tank into pretty much any other tank it sees, you're going to be doing pretty well. Just be careful of the super heavy guys. Also, worst 3 quirks of this tank. Now, this tank has a huge size, as we've just discussed, allowing for enemies to shoot you. I mean, look at the side profile of this tank. It is absolutely massive. On top of that, it has very bad radio range. Now, this is a characteristic of Russian tanks, or at least it was a characteristic of Russian tanks. I'm not sure if it is anymore, but yeah, you're gonna have to rely on other tanks' radio ranges, and tier 4 tanks, tier 5 tanks, they may not have the best radio ranges, guys, so just be aware of that. And also, its gun handling in general is pretty damn bad. So this is not a tank that I would recommend for new players, but we'll get into that anyway in the brand score. Speaking of which, let's look at that now. So on to the brand score. The DPM of this tank is 1650, giving it a 5 out of 10. Now, the penetration of this tank is 196mm of penetration, giving it a 5 out of 10. Gun handling wise, this tank has a shown dispersion value of 0.38, giving it a 3 out of 5, and has a hidden dispersion value average of 0.22, giving it another 3 out of 5. Now, aiming time wise, this tank has an aiming time of 2.9 seconds, giving it a 6 out of 10. Gun vertical movement of this tank is pretty bad, so at 5 degrees of gun depression it has a 2 out of 5, and at 15 degrees of gun elevation it has another 2 out of 5. Now, although this tank can pull off some bounces now and then, the tank cannot rely on its armor. It's pretty big and pretty bad in most areas, so this tank scores an overall 4 out of 10 for its armor. Mobility wise is actually quite surprising for this tank. It has a power to weight ratio of 13.91, giving it a 2 out of 5, and has an average traverse speed of 28, giving it another 2 out of 5. View range wise, this tank has a view range of 350 meters, giving it an 8 out of 10, and concealment while stationary, so it's camouflage while stationary, not moving and not firing the gun, is 6.67%, giving it a 3 out of 10. Value of this tank is pretty good, so the value for money is one of the cheapest tier 6 premium tanks, and it also has pretty good profitability. However, it is a difficult tank to play, especially if your crew skills and your equipment on this tank aren't very good. So if you're a new player, I would recommend to steer clear of this tank and have a look at other tanks. So as such, for the value wise, I'm giving this tank an 8 out of 10, because it is very good value in my opinion if you're a more experienced player, but if you're not, again, steer clear of this tank in my opinion. So overall, guys, the brand score for the SU-100Y is 51 out of 100. Also, guys, if you want to know exactly how I work out the brand score, all you have to do is head to heavilyarmored.com. Down in the description, go to World of Tanks, press brand score, and then press brand score explained, and that'll tell you exactly how I work out what score to give to every tank that I review. Now let's have a look at some Ace Tanker gameplay. So I have some crazy gameplay for you guys right here. This is War Daddy in his SU-100Y. This is, I always forget the name of this map, Malinovka. Now, I personally hate Malinovka, but that's because I'm not a great player. So anyway, we have War Daddy going over to, I'm presuming, this little position on the hill, or maybe he'll just stop here. Now, in this game, I've seen the stats. It is pretty damn crazy, guys. Anyway, he gets his first shot off, snaps it off, and destroys that AMX-12T. Does 344 damage, and of course that is a low roll. He did finish it off, that's why he rolled low, but this tank has a alpha damage of, what, 440, and if he's using the premium rounds of 510. So he was using the premium rounds right there, clearly feeling pretty confident in himself. We have a Tiger 1 who's just trying to see. Now he's making really good use of camouflage here. And he gets a huge shot into that Tiger 1, but you can see that he can't see that Tiger 1. Technically, he can only see its silhouette, but that's perfect. It means that that Tiger 1 will not be able to spot him at all. He's using another premium round here, but luckily he doesn't shoot. And the reason I say luckily is because that would be a very expensive waste of ammunition, because he should be able to just fire a standard round at him, and take him out that way. So far, 880 damage. Already that's more than the hit points of the tank at the tier, and it's only been a minute and a half, and he got that within, I think, a minute, so it's pretty crazy already. So he's heading over to this sniping position over here. Now this is a pretty popular position, although he will have been spotted by that VK now, so he's got to be a bit careful, I think. Then OI going up the hill there, huge tank as well. You can see the bloom on this tank is absolutely massive, but he's able to get a shot off into the side and does another 531 damage. Now, mind you guys, he is firing that premium ammunition, don't forget. He sees that his teammate is in trouble, but the teammate was able to successfully live. Although he might die now with that Panther, but that Panther is going to be in a whole world of pain. Or could have been. He just bounced a huge shell from the SU-100Y. But remember as well, less penetration. But he's still getting the spotting damage. So he's reloading again, and he's just going to come out. And that Panther hopefully won't bounce to this shot, especially if he shoots the top of his tank. But let's have a look exactly where he's going to shoot. Aims in. Side of the turret. Goes straight through. 565 damage. Absolutely massive amount of damage. But he does take a hit from that T-29. He's already on just under 2,000 damage. Let's see if he's about to make it over 2,000. Takes a shot, of course, gets him. He's running out of premium ammunition here. I'm not sure why he's solely firing the premium ammunition. Probably because he feels confident he's able to go through all the tanks with the premium ammunition. That Black Prince, from the front anyway, might be a bit difficult to go through. If he takes a shot. Oh, he goes straight through the turret. 610 damage. And that was such an... the RNG of that shot was with him today. He was able to shoot just the top of that Black Prince and do just over 600 damage, which is absolutely absurd. I'm really surprised he hit him. And that T-29 has just made a huge mistake, and a shot goes straight through his back. And already is on 3,500 damage, guys. Look how quickly the damage can stack up in this tank, especially if you know what you're doing. But you can also see that the bloom of this tank is quite large as well. Again, the T-29 makes a huge mistake. He then gets set on fire and completely destroyed. Great play there. Not that, again, that's a lot of RNG, but I mean, this gun is a 130mm naval gun. It can go and create a whole lot of module damage. And this Black Prince has just made a huge mistake and gets taken out pretty easily. Actually, another tank destroys him. Who destroyed him? I'm not too sure. Oh, sorry. Rifle, War Daddy destroyed him. Anyway, takes a shot at the Ferdinand, goes straight through the side, but gets spotted as well, so he backs up. He must have known he was going to get spotted because he backed up before Sixth Sense started going off. 4,800 damage. Pretty insane. He is doing a lot of damage to the enemy team. I would almost suggest he was carrying for the enemy team. The T-44 is waiting for him to pop out. He doesn't have to worry too much about the artillery on the enemy team because he does have his teammates going over to the other side to try and deal with them. He's wondering what to do at this point. His team is capping, but realistically, they don't really need to even do that. He's trying to get Artie to destroy the T-44. So he's doing a lot of spotting on the T-44. And the Ferdinand has just popped up. Now the Ferdinand has pretty damn good armor at just over 200mm in some places. So he's got to be careful here because he can't just lob a premium round into him, because obviously the premium rounds do not do as much penetration as the standard rounds. Ferdinand just took out T-25-2 on his team. But he has to be careful about that T-44. But that Ferdinand looks like he's about to just try and rush War Daddy here. I'm just so interested in what's about to happen. So his Ferdinand is feeling pretty damn lucky. He's got 2 artillery behind him who are probably about to lob some shots into him. That T-44 is on low health as well, so that means that Artie must have hit him a few times. Artie misses. One Artie misses. The other Artie hits, tracks him, and stuns him as well. Actually, guys, tell me what you think about the stunning mechanic. I'm going to leave a poll in here. I personally don't like it, but you guys might like it. So vote in the poll right now. Tell me what you think. I'd be very interested to see, actually. Anyway, guys, he is trying to lure out that Ferdinand, and it's currently 3-on-3. And War Daddy is being very careful here. Now that Ferdinand can very easily one-shot him. But he tracks him, shoots him in the side, but gets taken out as well. So a pretty heartbreaking result there. But let's just speed up to the end of the game and see exactly what happens with his team. A pretty heartbreaking result there, but you can just see how the SU-100Y performed. It is a really, really good tank. In my opinion, if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be a very, very difficult tank to play. It doesn't have very good accuracy. In fact, it has very bad accuracy, I would suggest. And if you're a new player, you will struggle with it. It's just the nature of the tank. It's not an easy tank to play, as I've said. So it looks like the team is about to destroy them and the game is over. Let's have a look at the post-game stats and see exactly how this tank performed. Left this replay for Quickie Baby, but too bad, War Daddy. I'm going to review it anyway. He got a base experience of 2,034, which is absolutely insane. I think I've only ever gotten one above 2,000 on my previous account. Yes, I've re-rolled. No, I'm not proud of it. He has a mastery badge, ace tanker, a bruiser, a spotter, an arsonist, a duelist, a fighter, a fire for effect, a high caliber, and a tank sniper. He was able to put in a huge amount of damage into the enemy team. But remember, guys, he was firing a lot of premium rounds. He still made a profit of 78,120. So this tank is a pretty profitable tank, which is why I give its value as well a pretty damn high score. I think it is a really good tank for making money. Again, if you know what you're doing, because this tank is so huge. If you get spotted, a few shots, bad armor, you will be taken out pretty damn quickly. But anyway, War Daddy, very good result there. Let's go back to the garage and see exactly what my thoughts are on this tank in summary. So the big question is, would I buy this tank again myself? The answer is yes, I absolutely love this tank, but if you are a new player, I would recommend you steer clear and maybe go for a different tank. And again, the reason I say this is because this tank does require, I believe, a high skill cap. If you don't know what you're doing, one wrong move can be the end of this game, can completely throw you out of the game. It doesn't have very good armor. It is absolutely huge and has a very long reload and is inaccurate as well. So it's really not the most amazing of tanks, but if you get into the right matchup and if you play pretty well, then this tank can absolutely excel with its huge, huge naval gun. Anyway, guys, if you did like the video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. I'd love to see you around next time. Head to my website, heavilyarmored.com. I have it in the description below. This is where I post the tank review in writing format, as well as have fitness posts and other World of Tanks related content. I'd love to see you over there as well. You can also send me replays in if you go to the contact section of that page. It does describe how to do it there. But anyway, guys, I'll see you around next time.